Every tool that feels like magic right now, the chatbot that writes your emails, the model that can look at a photo and describe it, the AI that designs new medicines, was set in motion by a shockingly small group of people. Maybe 40 of them truly matter. 10 of them changed everything. So I went deep into the real history of artificial intelligence, the Nobel Prizes, the Turing Awards, the breakthroughs almost nobody actually understands, and built an honest ranking of the 10 people who built AI. Not the loudest, not the richest, the ones whose ideas the entire field is still standing on top of. Some of these names you'll know instantly. A couple you've never heard of, and absolutely should. And number two, spent decades being treated as a footnote, even though he's the one who named this entire field. Let's count down from 10 to 1. Quick ground rule, because every list like this is a fight. I did not rank these people by net worth or follower count or who is trending this month. I ranked them by one brutal question. If you deleted this person from history, how much of modern AI quietly falls apart? That's it. Foundational contribution and lasting impact. And by that test, the popular version of this list gets two names badly wrong and leaves off one man who personally built about a third of the foundation. I put him back. We'll get to him. Let's start the countdown. Number 10. Number 10, Dario Amodei. Before he was the CEO of Anthropic, the company behind Claude, Amodei was a research leader at OpenAI who helped build GPT-2 and GPT-3. But his deepest contribution is an idea called scaling laws. In 2020, his team proved something almost nobody believed at the time, that AI models get predictably smarter along a clean mathematical curve simply by making them bigger and feeding them more data. That one insight is the reason the entire industry started spending billions of dollars on giant models, because the math now said it would actually work. In 2021, he left with his sister Daniela to found Anthropic on a single principle: build the most capable AI in the world, but build it to be safe. He earns this spot because he turned bigger is better from a hunch into a law. Number 9, Sam Altman. Now, Altman is not a researcher. He has never trained a famous model. So why is he on a list of the people who built AI at all? Because in November 2022, the company he runs, OpenAI, released ChatGPT. And in 2 months, it reached 100 million users, the fastest any product had spread in human history. Every other person on this list did brilliant work that mostly lived inside research papers. Altman is the one who took AI out of the lab and put it in front of your grandmother. He co-founded OpenAI back in 2015, survived being fired and rehired by his own board in one chaotic week, and turned AI from a niche academic phrase into the most important word in technology. He is not the genius behind the science. He is the reason that you personally are using it today. Number 8, Jensen Huang. Here's a fact that sounds invented. Not a single model on this list could exist without the company this man started in a roadside diner back in 1993. Jensen Huang is the founder and CEO of NVIDIA. He spent 30 years building the graphics chips called GPUs that were originally meant to make video games look pretty. Then it turned out those exact chips were perfect for training neural networks. Every ChatGPT, every AlphaFold, every image generator on Earth runs on Huang's hardware. In 2025, NVIDIA became the first company in history worth $5 trillion because the entire AI revolution physically runs on its silicon. The researchers had the ideas. Huang built the engine that made those ideas runnable. No NVIDIA, no modern AI. It really is that simple. Number 7. And the first name a lot of people don't recognize, which is honestly a crime, because the modern AI era arguably begins with her, Fei-Fei Li. In the late 2000s, nearly every AI researcher was obsessed with building better algorithms. Li bet on something far less glamorous: data. She built ImageNet, a database of 14 million images, hand labeled into thousands of categories, and launched a yearly contest to see whose model could recognize them best. For a few years, nothing dramatic happened. Then, in 2012, one team's results were so far ahead of everyone else that the entire field flipped overnight. That moment kicked off the deep learning revolution, and it only happened because Lee had built the mountain of data they could finally climb. Today, she runs Stanford's Human Centered AI Institute. People call her the godmother of AI, and she earned every bit of it. Number 6, Ilya Sutskever. Remember that 2012 moment I just described, the one that changed everything? Sutskever was one of the three people behind it. The model was called AlexNet, and it didn't just win Fei-Fei Li's contest, it crushed the competition so badly that it proved deep neural networks genuinely worked. That was the spark for everything that followed. Sutskever went on to co-found OpenAI and become its chief scientist. More than any other single person, he's the technical mind behind the GPT models that became ChatGPT. Colleagues talk about him as having an almost spiritual intuition for what neural networks are capable of. In 2024, he left to start a brand new company with its entire mission baked into the name, Safe Superintelligence. When one of the people who built this technology starts a company purely to keep it safe, it is worth paying attention. Number 5, Demis Hassabis, and his story reads like fiction. Child chess prodigy, designed hit video games as a teenager, earned a PhD in neuroscience. Then, in 2010, he founded a company called DeepMind to do one audacious thing: solve intelligence itself and then use it to solve everything else. In 2016, DeepMind's AlphaGo beat the world champion at Go, a game so vastly complex that experts had said AI was still decades away from winning it. But here is the achievement that truly matters. For 50 years, biology's hardest puzzle was predicting how proteins fold, which is the key to understanding disease. Hassabis' team built AlphaFold, and it essentially solved that puzzle, mapping the structure of 200 million proteins. In 2024, he won the Nobel Prize in chemistry for it. Most people on this list changed computing. Hassabis used AI to change science itself. Number 4, Yoshua Bengio. And this is the name the popular version of this list quietly left off, which is genuinely indefensible. So let me fix it right now. Here is why it matters. In 2018, computing's highest honor, the Turing Award, basically the Nobel Prize of Computer Science, was given jointly to 3 men for making deep learning work. 3 of them. 2 are higher up on my list. But the famous poster included those 2 and simply dropped the third. That third man is Bengio. Back in 2003, he pioneered the idea of teaching machines the meaning of words as mathematical patterns, the direct ancestor of how every modern language model, including the one inside ChatGPT, understands language at all. He's now among the most cited living scientists on the planet, and he has spent recent years as one of the loudest voices begging the world to take AI risks seriously. You do not get to celebrate the 3 godfathers of AI and then forget one of them. So, Yoshua Bengio, welcome back onto the list at number 4. Number 3, Yann LeCun. In the 1980s and 90s, almost everyone had given up on neural networks. The field was stuck in what is literally called an AI winter. LeCun kept going anyway. He invented something called the convolutional neural network, the architecture that finally let a computer actually see. His early system read the handwritten zip codes on millions of envelopes for the US Postal Service, back when that genuinely felt like magic. That same core idea now powers facial recognition, self-driving cars, and medical imaging. He is the second of our 3 Turing Award godfathers. For roughly a decade, he built and led the AI research lab at Meta. And in 2025, he left to chase the next leap: AI that builds a real internal model of the physical world. If Hinton made deep learning possible, LeCun is the man who gave machines their eyes. Number 2, and this is my single biggest disagreement with almost every other list, which tends to bury this man near the very bottom: John McCarthy. Here is the case. In 1955, a young mathematician needed a name for a brand new field he wanted to create. The idea that human intelligence could be described so precisely that a machine could simulate it. The phrase he invented was artificial intelligence. He literally named the thing this entire video is about. The very next summer, in 1956, he gathered a tiny group of researchers at Dartmouth for a workshop. And that meeting is now considered the birth of AI as a field. He then invented Lisp, a programming language, so far ahead of its time that AI researchers kept using it for the next 30 years. Everyone else on this list is playing a game. McCarthy invented the board, wrote the rules, and built the language it's all played in. For an all time ranking, the man who named and founded the entire field belongs near the very top. Number 2. And number 1. Honestly, there was only ever one real choice: Geoffrey Hinton, the man the world simply calls the Godfather of AI. For roughly 40 years, through every winter when the funding dried up and serious scientists called neural networks a dead end, Hinton just kept believing that a machine could learn the way a brain does. In 1986, he helped popularize backpropagation, the core algorithm that lets a neural network learn from its own mistakes. It is still, to this day, how essentially every AI model on Earth is trained. Then in 2012, with two of his students, one of them, Ilya Sutskever, he built AlexNet, the model that finally proved he had been right the entire time and triggered the exact era you are living in right now. In 2018, he won the Turing Award. In 2024, the Nobel Prize in Physics. And then he did something remarkable. In 2023, he walked away from Google, specifically so he could warn the world about the dangers of the very technology he had spent his life creating. The father of deep learning. Now it's conscience. That is why he's number 1. Now, before the comments declare open war on me, let's talk about who did not make the cut, because a few of these genuinely hurt. Andrew Ng. He co-founded Google Brain, then taught AI to literally millions of people through Coursera. He probably trained half the engineers who built everything else on this list. Andrej Karpathy, the brilliant explainer who led AI at Tesla and helped start OpenAI. And the biggest omission of all, in 2017, 8 researchers at Google published a paper called Attention is All You Need. It introduced the transformer, the T in GPT, and it is the single architecture that every modern AI, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all of it is built on top of. 8 people, equal credit. No single face to put on a card. So here is my honest confession. A list of just 10 people cannot hold a revolution this big, which is exactly why I built you something better. Hold that thought. Step back and look at the whole shape of it, because there is a real story buried in this ranking. One man names the field in the 1950s. It nearly dies. Twice. 3 stubborn believers keep neural networks alive through the winters. 1 researcher builds the data. 2 build the spark in 2012. 8 write the paper in 2017. And 1 company finally puts it all into a billion hands in 2022. 70 years from a single word on a workshop proposal to an AI that wins a Nobel Prize. And notice the pattern. Almost none of these people were chasing a product. They were chasing an idea everyone else was certain was impossible. And they were stubborn enough to still be right, decades later. That is the actual lesson hiding in this list. Not the rankings, the patience. If you made it all the way here, you genuinely love this stuff. So let's make it official. Subscribe, whether you are watching this on YouTube, following along on Facebook, or over on Instagram. Every single week, I take the biggest things happening in AI and the people behind them, do the deep and frankly costly digging, and hand you back the version that actually makes sense. Hit subscribe and the bell so the next breakdown finds you automatically. And because a 10-minute video cannot possibly hold 70 years of history, I built you the full thing. Comment the word GOATS and I will send you a free AI Pioneers Field Guide. All 10 leaders, the honorable mentions, every key breakthrough, and a clean timeline of how the whole field actually evolved. Perfect for finally remembering who is who. The link is in the description too. And if you want to get genuinely dangerous with AI yourself, I have 4 guides linked below. My Claude Code Guide, my OpenAI Codex Guide, the Claude for Sales Playbook, and my certification prep kit. Now tell me in the comments, who do you think is the real number one? Subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and I will see you in the next one. And the description has a quick tip if you would like to watch a little faster.